Hello, boys. Hello, girls. You're now listening to the NXT Takeover 4 Brooklyn 4 edition of the Glorified House Show. And as I said yesterday, this podcast, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on a multitude of streaming audio, just found out I am on Google Podcast. That's pretty cool. But if you listen, I said I would have a special guest on the podcast. If you're listening, the link is in the description so you can see this babe that I'm sitting beside, and she's pretty nervous.
Very nervous.
And she's going to be helping with this podcast and giving a somewhat of an outsider perspective on wrestling, the product, and so forth and so on. So everyone, I introduce Amanda.
Hey.
And in fact, we've been together for a couple of months now, and she has never really watched wrestling until we started hanging out.
Yeah, never.
So
Never.
I would say, I guess what I would like to ask is, what made you want to watch wrestling with me?
Well, I would say I have an appreciation for anybody who wants to put the effort into entertaining somebody. I mean, they have the costumes, they're physically fit, there's a story. So anybody that wants to get on stage, I like that. I like that a lot.
Is it anything else? Like, I mean, is it anything that's pulling you in? That's saying like, I can't wait to see the next one? Or is it more or less when I'm around and you'll just watch it with me?
I'll just watch it with you, pretty much. And then I just really like, I like the outfits a lot, and I mean, the guys look good, you know, like, hello, I can watch that.
So, what happens is that, okay, there's Raw, the SmackDown, is NXT. We've been to what have we been to so far? A SmackDown in Raleigh?
Yeah, SmackDown.
SmackDown in Raleigh. And she doesn't watch Raw. And the only thing that we really have time for, because the middle of the week is the only time we really get to hang out, is NXT on the WWE Network. So
NXT, yeah.
So she's more familiar with the people, which is not a bad start. I guess anybody be like, well, shit, you know, like, that's any insider or any, like, I guess internet nerd would be like, well, that's a great place to start. I guess my next question to you, Amanda, is, do you have a favorite wrestler
Oh, man.
that you've seen so far on the NXT brand?
Oh, gosh. Name some of the women, because it's definitely going to be a woman.
Yeah, you have Kairi Sane, who is the Japanese pirate.
Japanese. I do love her a lot.
You have Shayna Baszler, who is like the champion.
Not as much Shayna. No, she's a little too tough.
You have,
Too tough.
who I say you look a lot like, Dakota Kai.
Yeah, I like her. She's Australian?
She's Australian, Hawaiian.
Hawaiian. Okay, yeah, I like her. I like
Hawaii-Australian. Hawaii-Australian. And there's a couple of other ones. She's been getting a big push, but the women's right woman, you know what I'm talking about?
Give a picture.
Lacey Evans.
Lacey. She's very feminine. She wears the hat sometimes. Is that Lacey?
She's basically Liberty Bell from Glow.
Yeah. Yeah, I like her a lot. I mean, but I think maybe out of all those it'd be Kairi.
Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
Anybody on the men's roster?
Is that CrossFit Jesus?
No, that's Raw.
Okay.
You're thinking that's Seth Rollins.
Give me some guys' names from NXT.
So okay, we're gonna start off with the Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, he's okay. Right.
Ricochet.
I like Ricochet, but he's kind of short, huh?
They're all short.
Not Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, Velveteen Dream. Other than Velveteen Dream and maybe Lars Sullivan, everyone's short.
Is Lars a really scary guy?
Yes.
Yeah, he opens like, ah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's scary.
Yeah.
No. Name some other guys from there.
You have Roderick Strong. You mentioned you like Roger. Well, you say you think he's cute.
He's kind of all-American kind of guy.
Yeah.
He has like Clark Kent hair.
Yeah, he looks like he would play like Superman.
Yeah, he's
Clark
all right.
Kent.
He's all right.
And then you also have God Almighty.
Is there the Samoan guy with the like thing that he wears all the time?
Are you talking about the finest guy?
No, he has his arm tattoos and the like looks like body armor. Is that NXT?
No, that's Roman Reigns.
I like him.
No, you don't like. All right, right. Well, I'm joking. Look, I'm wearing like a shirt that has his shield on it, but like, here you go. All right, Roman Reigns fan. All right, you can't hold her against her, because she's not really a fan. I mean, hell, this shirt is kind of like tongue in cheek at the idea of Shinsuke cheating in the Royal Rumble, but nevertheless. So out of all the matches, so we're gonna anything? What?
Name a couple of the other guys. We're missing somebody. There's somebody.
Well, you got Adam Cole, you got Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne. I like Pete Dunne. I don't like his outfit. Sorry.
Well, it's a throwback. Pete Dunne. This was a throwback to Daniel Bryan.
He's hard to watch though. He does the finger step, right? I don't know about that.
And he has a match on here. I don't know much about. So out of all the matches, so we have Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson. I don't know much about that. It's the final basically for the UK
I bet
Championship.
Pete will win.
Well, no, we're not doing that yet. I'm just saying like. We're not going to give anything. I'm just going to see, out of all these matches, Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson, Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane, Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole versus Ricochet, The Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain,
Okay.
and Velveteen Dream versus EC3.
Who's EC3?
He's the I am top 1% kind of big diesel guy, and he's very tan, short curly hair.
Not ringing a bell.
Yeah, he's he's the guy going up against Velveteen Dream.
I don't remember.
All right, no worries. So the thing about, and I'm talking about this, the thing about Takeover, what's so great about any and all these takeovers is that NXT is an hour show. NXT takeovers are normally like 2 hours. So yesterday, I think the SummerSlam card had at least 10 to 11 to 12 matches. It'll probably run for 8 hours. And the thing for NXT is that like you got 1 hour shows, they rotate people, no one's really get left out, but you also get to miss somebody. And their takeovers are like, this is only 6 matches. So that's always a plus when you're not worn out. And I guarantee they've already sold. I think they probably sold out the Barclays Center because that's where it is, faster than actual SummerSlam. So it's always an exciting time. There's been a lot of big matches, a lot of big turnouts, a lot of growth, a lot of storylines that's happened at the NXT Takeover Brooklyns. And now, if I was to look at and compare this to different NXT Takeover Brooklyns, this is probably, outside of Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano, we've seen those already. Adam Cole versus Ricochet. I will say that this is, in terms of star power, it's not the strongest one. So I don't know how much anticipation outside of the brand that most people will have for this WWE Network event. So I like to think that people are excited. Adam Cole Ricochet seems exciting. Velveteen Dream EC3 sounds exciting. And Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano, even though we've seen this before, this is a last man standing match, and it should have been a 3-way. So, I mean, I think I probably one of the only 3-ways I would have been interested in seeing. But nevertheless, we're still going to get a good match because those two guys work their asses off. So, without further ado, let's go into the pay-per-view. You excited? It's our first podcast.
I'm nervous.
Are you looking into the camera?
I'm here.
Are you looking into the camera? All right.
I'm looking at you.
You're looking at me? Yeah. Because you can find yourself kind of dozing over and looking at yourself to see if everything's thing. But I've been doing this for a while, so I've definitely trained better into looking into the camera. Again, guys, if you're listening on any kind of MP3 audio streaming, you can also look into the description if you want to see this babe of mine. The video link is down below. Like, share, thumbs up, leave a comment, compliment her.
Leave a comment for
her.
Peter.
Yeah, because she's awesome. I'm happy she's in my life. No, get out of here. So let's go into this. And again, this is in no particular order. I'm gonna give like a quick run through of the storyline, and then we'll give our predictions. And plus, we'll see how you feel about it.
Okay.
All right. So, and this is again subject. I guess cards subject to change. Who knows what they're gonna throw on?
You never know.
Later on. It's tomorrow, in fact. Or if you're listening to this today, or watching today, it's later on today. So it's Friday night. It was around like 10 o'clock. I got here late, so here we go. On the Wikipedia page, it starts with the Velveteen Dream versus EC3. And this storyline has no real background. It has no real anything to it, to the fact that I think EC3 was in a match and Velveteen Dream just happened to come out and distract him. No real reason why. I think he just, he just kind of targeted him because he's a pretty flamboyant guy. EC3 is a flamboyant guy. Just to let you know, he was in fact a WWE guy at first. He was runner-up in a Tough Enough that was won by Fandango. When they didn't want to, no, he actually won the Tough Enough with Fandango in it, but it didn't pan out. So he ended up leaving the company, going to TNA, becoming Ethan Carter III.
Okay.
And when TNA, Impact Wrestling, basically cleared out their entire roster because they have a whole new crop, he was one of the ones to go. So he came back to the WWE. They let him back in, and he's EC3. He's not Ethan Carter III. He's EC3. Velveteen Dream is a guy named Patrick Clark, and Patrick Clark was already an independent wrestler. He had already performed at PWG, and I think he did some stuff for in England. And in fact,
really?
Yeah, and in fact, him and what's his name? Aleister Black were in fact a tag team.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, and he was on a recent Tough Enough, which he didn't win, and was voted out by Hulk Hogan.
That's right.
Right, and so he disappeared for a while, came back to NXT as Patrick Clark. The gimmick wasn't working. At all. He was wearing these USA flag
right.
tights, and it just, he was skinny. It just wasn't working. And then he disappeared, came back as the Velveteen Dream, and has become a crowd favorite. And both of them have, EC3's gimmick is he's top 1%. He's a rich kid. He's a privileged kid, but he's also this Adonis body, and he's the best at this. He's the best at that. And Velveteen Dream is just a big badass, very androgynous, very flamboyant. And the two of them, even though they're a lot alike, they're very different. So we got a clash in styles, we got a clash in taste, but we also have a similarity in ego. And again, there's no real reason why they're feuding other than the fact that they're just
put together.
Yeah. So, anything you want to say about what you've seen of this rivalry?
I don't really know the history of the two, but I like Velveteen Dream. I think he looks really strong, powerful guy. So I would think, if I had to say who I thought would prevail, I would think it's Velveteen.
So
Dream.
you're predicting Velveteen Dream?
Yeah. I think he's just a very powerful guy.
Okay, so Velveteen needs a win badly. He's lost a lot of matches. He lost against Aleister Black. He's also lost against I think, who else did he lose to? He lost to somebody. but he doesn't have a win streak. But he's still like wildly popular. EC3 on the other hand, he's had one loss to Johnny Gargano, and he's a TNA guy. And in the end, TNA guys never really get a good look for the most part. And it seems weird, but like why people would still hold that against them. But Velveteen Dream, even though he's not a WWE guy, he's more of a WWE guy than than EC3. So I think just by process of elimination, I believe that Velveteen Dream needs this win and will get this win. Ethan Carter. But who's to say that this is the last match? A lot of times these matches, whether NXT or even the main roster, they get 3 goes at it.
What does that mean?
3. They get best out of 3.
Okay.
You get the first, you get the second, and then you get the rubber match.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, we get to Ciampa and Gargano. This is their 4th match.
Oh yeah, they've been going around and around.
Yeah. So we got the Undisputed Era, which is Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, which used to be, in fact, Bobby Fish, Red Dragon. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, if you already know, coming from ROH. They were in a tag team called Red Fish.
Can I see a picture of them?
Oh, well, I don't really have time.
Okay.
But anyway, and Bobby Fish has been injured. And so Roderick Strong was kind of written into replacing him as the tag team champions of NXT. The Undisputed Era also features Adam Cole as its leader. Mustache Mountain is Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, who in fact won at the last Takeover. I think was it Takeover or was it the UK Championship tournament? Somewhere in there. In fact, those guys beat the Undisputed Era for those belts, and then just recently, Trent Seven threw in the towel, resulting them losing the championship back.
Oh, I remember the towel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is the rubber match, and if I was to make a wild guess, okay, so let me ask, because I have more to say. So what I guess for what you know, what do you think, and I guess who do you think will pull it off? And what you know, I mean.
I'm gonna go with Mustache Mountain.
Mustache Mountain.
That's just my gut feeling.
Okay.
It just tickles my mustache.
So I've noticed a little weirdness as of late with Bobby Fish, and maybe it could be all in my head, but he's the one injured. He's kind of like the third man out. He's kind of like the the what do you call it, the third wheel, so to speak, in this scenario. Odd man out. And if you watch, because everyone has belts, he's carrying a trophy. He's the oldest of the group. He has a little more history, and he's kind of treated like the third wheel. This is just what I've been noticing. And if you watch their promos, it seems like you can tell that he feels a certain way. The last scene we even saw of them was them doing the sign, and he was kind of left holding the trophy. He just made a face.
Wow.
So I don't know if, it could be all speculation, and sometimes it's fun to sort of guess if like some funny business will happen. But maybe, just maybe, Bobby Fish will do something and help, in fact, because I'm guessing
maybe he'll turn.
That Mustache Mountain will, in fact, win. But I think because of Bobby Fish, and Bobby Fish feeling like he's been left out of the equation, and what's his name? Kyle O'Reilly is like, that's my boy, so I'm going with him. I never felt good with Roderick Strong as my tag team partner in the first place. And then Adam Cole would just team up with Roderick Strong and then that be the feud within Undisputed Era. There's been no signs of them breaking up or some sort of tension, but with NXT, you have a short shelf life of being down there because it's a developmental brand. So maybe someone's getting called up real soon, so you can't like extend these things for a very long time. So maybe they've been a crew for a minute now. So maybe it's time to like shake it up a little bit.
That's really reading into the
Oh.
non-verbal clues.
Oh, but that comes with the territory of being a wrestling mark, and also I mean, I like to think of myself as a little bit of an
analyst.
Analyst, that's the word.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of an analyst. So
yeah, really thinking about the backstory.
But the thing about NXT, they really don't go that route too often. They never throw anybody a curveball or go sideways with anything. So it's still fun to just make these sort of guesses. So we got Adam Cole. This is on the list again. It's just a Wikipedia. We're not saying where it's gonna land in the card. But the next, and we're trying to get through here. By the way, she broke her ankle not too long ago, so maybe she could get a little uncomfortable. So we
start wiggling around.
Yeah. If you're watching and you see her wiggling around,
okay, thank you.
if you see her wiggling around, it's not because she's like, turned on by me and she's, getting all feisty. It's because she has a broken ankle.
I'm injured.
Yeah.
I'm out this week on the wrestling match.
Yeah. She's on the injured reserve. Yeah, she was in. It was might have been a fatal four-way with Ciampa, Black, and Ciampa, and now it's then she got injured, so now it's a whatever. I thought I was gonna go somewhere. So there's been a new belt on the rise, and it's the NXT North American Championship. Now, before, it's always just been one belt, and that is the NXT Men's Championship and the Women's Championship. They have no secondary belt for the women yet, but for the men, there's just a tag team. It was just a tag team and the NXT Championship. Then they brought in a second championship, the North American Championship. They had a ladder match. Adam Cole won it. I think he's only defended it once.
Who did he win against?
It was a ladder match.
Oh, okay. That means a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he retained it against Ricochet.
Okay.
No. He retained it against. Who did he retain it against? He actually defended it against somebody. I can't even remember. Ugh. That sucks. Well, either way, don't matter. Maybe it was the Velveteen Dream. Maybe. Yeah, it was the Velveteen Dream.
Fairly recently.
I think.
Hard to say.
It moves so fast, but he's only defended it once. This is his second defense against Ricochet. And, Adam Cole, baby. If you know his history, ROH, New Japan, he has all the tools, and he has a slickness about him that's very reminiscent of Shawn Michaels. I think WWE has big plans for him.
He seems like a favorite. He seems like a company man. He is a favorite.
Yeah, he's I think they have a plan for him. They don't ever mention his weight, even though he's a small guy.
That's interesting.
They never mention Finn Balor's weight either. So that means he's not 205 bound, which is like the cruiserweight division for the WWE. He may just be going to the main roster. And we'll see. But he's been the champ for a while. Well, not for a while. It was only a couple of months. But again, you got to shake this shit up. He'll probably get called up real soon. He's too talented. Ricochet, if you know Ricochet, he's also Adam Cole. They kind of have parallel careers of PWG, New Japan. I don't think Ricochet ever performed in ROH. He was a Lucha Underground guy. He went by Prince Puma. And after Prince Puma and after his time was up with New Japan tag teaming, I think with what the hell? It's gonna hit me in a minute. It'll hit me in a minute, but like, who cares? He came to NXT. I didn't think he was gonna be here that soon. I thought it would be later because he's so young. I think he's only maybe 20.
He looks
25, 24, 23 years old. He's the boyfriend of Tessa Blanchard, and she, I think, is performing again in the Mae Young Classic. So there you have it. these two are just badasses, and it's kind of up in the air who you would think, because I don't think Ricochet. He's doing the flips and he's doing the moves, and he's good looking guy. He has a lot going for him, but I don't think he's really panned out the way that so far. So
he doesn't have a certain toughness. Like, he's really fun to watch. This is probably one of the match I'm most looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy it. You were asking me earlier, like, my favorite. Ricochet is one of my favorite guys. He's so enjoyable to watch, but he doesn't have any kind of meanness or toughness. I just don't ever get that from him. You want to be a little bit scared to go in the match with somebody.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's good.
Not at all. I mean, I would want to go in the match with that guy and be like, throw me around, let's do a flip. I mean, there's not a lot of intimidation.
You hear this?
From him. I don't feel much intimidation.
And again, you have to take in consideration that you're not a fan of wrestling, but you can pick up on this, and I find that very interesting. And you're right, he does lack edge. He does lack fear. You go in there, he'll probably be faster than you, but that's the only thing you're going to worry about. He hits, I guess, hard enough, but it's not like you're afraid to see him in the ring. If anything, you don't want to be outperformed, and outperforming isn't fighting.
Yeah, he's a tumbler.
When I watch wrestling, I like my wrestling to look somewhat like a fight. So a lot of you look at these UK guys, strong style in England and in Japan, and they look like fights. You probably could get a lot of acrobatics out of it, but if your whole repertoire is just doing flips and dives, then yeah, I'll like and be entertained, but I'm not looking forward to see it, versus say another match that looks similar to a fight.
When I watch some of the other guys, I'm like, oh my god, somebody's gonna get hurt. I'm really worried about these guys because I'm a mom. But when I see Ricochet, I'm like, oh, he's just gonna
yeah.
He's just gonna spring back somehow.
And if anything, you're scared he's gonna hurt himself doing a dive or a flip,
a triple flip, quadruple axel,
and not make it all the way through.
Yeah, but I do look for. I think that's going to be a fun match to watch. But I don't know if it's like a nail biter.
I think it's gonna be fun. I think it'll be more of a fight, because the thing with Adam Cole, and I think you haven't watched his matches enough. He's kind of he is an entertainer in the ring. He sells really well.
He does sell really well.
He has a lot of comic relief in the way that he fights. Ricochet, not so much. Again, it's mostly finesse and acrobatics. But I think the two of them have, I don't know if they fought before or what, but I think we're going to get an old school PWG style match where it's going to be pretty hard hitting, and it's going to last a distance. I think, it'll probably be the second longest match there is.
I bet so. I bet you're right. They have a lot of stamina, those two.
But who wins? Who wins?
I say Adam Cole.
I say Ricochet. I think Ricochet. I see a title change, because what I was saying earlier, if Bobby Fish turns on Roderick Strong, Roderick Strong's going to need a partner going against Red Dragon moving forward.
And so you're playing chess, I'm playing checkers.
Yes. So I think Ricochet, and also after the feud, say if there is a feud, I'm already fantasy booking. Adam Cole's gonna get called up real soon. Maybe for Survivor Series.
He's got some star power for sure.
Or the Royal Rumble in February. I just don't see him landing. Just Adam Cole, baby. He's like, I don't know, number 9 on the fucking Royal Rumble, 7 or 9. That's always like a debut, maybe even 4, and lasts, till like the final 5 or 4. I mean, I think they feel that good about that guy. But I think Ricochet's gonna be down for a while. I think there's a couple of, you say what you want. He's still black, and it's going to be a while before they really pan out which black guys on the main roster are they going to move get rid of to make room for other black wrestlers. There's a couple of black wrestlers on now. Say R-Truth, maybe his time's running up pretty soon. What they do with Kofi Kingston and the New Day, Xavier Woods, if they're going to move him to 205 Live. If they move Ricochet to 205 Live, it's still up in the air. And I think he's just by default. And I'm not saying it's like discriminatory. We've watched wrestling for a while. And it's not like the treatment of black wrestlers or the placement of black wrestlers or even the gimmicks of black wrestlers is something that we're stranger to. So for me to bring it up isn't to be like, oh man, but it's a fact, not a fact, but it's a horrible truth. Well,
there's statistics to back it up.
Yeah, I mean, stats. It's like if you watch the show, you see it, for years on out, and you look at the New Day, you look at the Street Profits, and you look at R-Truth. There's not a lot of variation, and the only serious black wrestlers out there is Shelton Benjamin or like he's from here. Cedric Alexander.
That Lashley guy.
And Bobby Lashley, yeah. Or for females, there's not a lot, but what's her name? Phil DeGlow, whatever the fuck her name is. She's a dancer, like everything dancing and glowing. You get the Usos who are black enough, and they're like basically criminals. It's like the only person that doesn't on the women's roster who's black and doesn't really fit any kind of stereotype is the short black girl with the
she's real colorful.
Yes.
She has a contacts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her, whatever her name is. I'm not a big fan of hers, but nevertheless, on to the next.
She's cute though.
Yeah, she alright. I just hate she's too.
I like the girl with the big long ponytail thing.
Yeah, but she's sassy. It's just like she's just another Alicia Fox,
She's
a more talented Alicia
cheerleader.
Fox. Yeah, I mean that's what Alicia Fox is though.
Yeah.
And they made her kind of
Cheerleader for sure.
crazy. Amber Moon is her name, and
I like her.
yeah. So again, Ricochet, I see him with the belt. Sorry to sort of
Adam Cole.
All right, see, black versus white here.
Oh please.
I'm gonna jump to Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson. I think I'm not sure. I think maybe Zach Gibson is like I have no idea who the fuck this guy is. I didn't watch the UK tournament. Pete Dunne's the motherfucking man.
Yeah, just the fact that we don't know his name, how in the world is he gonna win?
Unless they trying to make a new star. NXT will make a new star out of you.
Okay. At a big event.
Yeah.
It'd be a shocker. I mean, that'd be like, whoa.
I think as an introduction, I think it probably could
Statement.
go. But it'd be tough to. I think I may have to stop this for a while. It says Did I get rid of the other ones? Either way, so I have Pete Dunne winning, but they could go with Zach Gibson. But I have Pete Dunne winning and Zach Gibson So
I agree. I totally agree.
All right, hold up. We'll be right back. I gotta see this. I don't want it to stop on me and not have enough space. So, all right, we're back. Sorry about that. I got a weird message on my. I'm recording with my phone. And I got a weird message saying something 30 something and
maximum.
Yeah, it was weird, and I was making sure that I had enough space. But I have an hour's enough time to record, so I apologize for the stop in action. But we're back. Did you miss us? No, you did. I know you missed this pretty face. If you're watching, she's so pretty. She's so pretty. I got lucky, guys. And she watches wrestling with me. Oh my god. All right, so. So our prediction was Pete Dunne winning. Okay, on to the next. I'm gonna leave Ciampa and Gargano last. Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane.
Ooh.
Kairi Sane, she is the winner of the last year's Mae Young Classic. She in fact defeated Shayna Baszler in the final, so they have a history. One has a victory, one has a loss, but one of them became champion, and it wasn't Kairi Sane. Shayna Baszler herself, she is a ex MMA fighter. She's one of the four horsemen with Ronda Rousey and the two other girls who are training in the in the development center. One is Roderick Strong's wife.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and the other, whatever. They were all MMA girls, and they're called the four. They were called the four horsewomen of MMA. Shayna Baszler is the first to sort of break out from the group, and they put a title on her. She's been basically bullying everyone in sight. More notably, Dakota Kai. She had a feud with the chick from Sanity. I can't really think of her name right now, but they had a little feud going on, and she was victorious in that. Nikki Cross, that's her name, and now her next opponent is Kairi Sane, and she's since the Mae Young Classic, they've still been at each other's throats. Sometimes Kairi Sane get the best and then move on. Sometimes Shayna Baszler get the best, then move on. But now they finally get to meet. And Kairi Sane is the number one contender for the belt. And I guess since she's won the Mae Young Classic, she's not been weak, but she hasn't necessarily been strong. They changed her music. She's not on TV as much. So it's up in the air, I guess, what they really want to do with her, to sort of put it in the situation where she has an opportunity to defeat Baszler again. It's kind of interesting. I'd imagine they would have done it earlier.
So who's the current champion?
Shayna Baszler.
Shayna, okay.
Shayna Baszler. And again, because this is, best of three, it seems this is their second match, I guarantee there'll be another match in the works. Again, NXT, I always come up with little screwy things that could happen. And I like to think that maybe, just maybe, the two other girls show up who are in development right now. They show up and distract Kairi Sane and help Shayna Baszler win.
Okay.
All right. So, any thoughts on what you know of this upcoming match?
I'm looking forward to watching this one. I really like Shayna. I think she's tough. I mean, she's not one of my favorites, but I do think she sells it, as you say. I think she's really interesting to watch for the fight. And then I love Kairi, so I think it's going to be a really good match. I'm real curious to see how it turns out.
You always pick on Shayna because she has no eyebrows.
I mean, I don't want to be making fun of eyebrows. That's between us, I thought.
No.
Why are you bringing that out?
No, because I think it's interesting.
She needs some eyebrows.
I think she has eyebrows.
If she would look so much more feminine, I think she almost purposely does that, but she would look more feminine if she just had a little bit more eyebrows.
I don't think she gives a shit about looking feminine.
Well, obviously she doesn't.
Yeah, and I don't think she's, I mean, if she goes both ways, she has a boyfriend, too, which is...
I just think that she would look so much more attractive as a female if she would just work on her eyebrows just a little bit. Not go overboard.
My only thing with her is that she's not smooth. She lacks smoothness.
In her moves?
No, just her demeanor and everything. I feel like
tough.
she's trying to be cool, but she's coming off as stiff, trying to look cool. If that makes any sense.
Like her leather jacket's brand new.
Yeah, she's like walking like a robot. She's like, hasta la vista, baby. And so.
Yeah. And I love all of Kairi's fights. So I love her hair. I like her moves. I like. So it'll be interesting because she's so femme. I mean, everything about her, and how her wrestling is very acrobatic against Shayna's grappling. So I think it'll be an interesting contrast. I'm gonna go for the win myself.
Mm-hmm.
Shayna.
Okay. So we both got Shayna winning, her getting her win back. Again, I got shenanigans happening. But
I like that, though.
but I think what Kyrie's saying, if you've seen the last couple of fights that she's been in, she's had more edge. And I think, she's lacked edge and a lot of her stuff up to this moment. And she's playing mind games. When they even had the contract signing, she only said she knows I can beat her. Because she doesn't speak that good at English. She goes,
Right.
I know I can beat her. She knows I can beat her. And she said it over and over just past Wednesday.
She's working on her
when she beat
intimidation.
when she beat Aaliyah, she made it clear that she had Shayna's attention, and that she was eyeing her down almost the whole match, and she's trying to get into her head, because if there is a truth out of it all, she did beat her, and she beat her on a big stage, and maybe Shayna. Nikki Cross played an intimidation game, and it worked a little bit, but she still lost. Maybe, but Nikki Cross never beat Shayna. And I think that's the edge that she has over Shayna, and maybe she is a little uncertain. Maybe at TakeOver, you'll probably see her a little worried. Maybe that she isn't as tough. Like they're cut to the back and she's talking to the two girls like, I don't know,
No way. She's tough.
I don't know, man.
She's tough to the core.
I don't know.
She's
and
all
maybe
tough.
at the very end, shenanigans with the two. They got to introduce them at some point, because it's either Survivor Series or the Survivor Series or either WrestleMania. It's coming up soon. It's coming up fast, and they want to get a 4 horsemen's women between those 4 MMA girls and Flair, Bailey, Banks, and Lynch, who were considered the 4 horsewomen of NXT. So they've been talking about getting those 4 together for quite some time for a big match at either WrestleMania or Survivor Series, and it's time. Tick, tick, tick.
What if Kyrie is just about to win, and the other 2 rush in and save Shayna?
Well, that's the point I'm making. And stupid ass babyface syndrome. Whenever anyone comes in for a distraction, the babyfaces lose focus and lose. But again, it's the idea isn't the distraction as much as it is introducing these 2 players in the game. And when they're introducing players in the game, who's to say that someone's going to get called up? When someone gets called in, someone either gets fired or moves up to the main roster. And maybe it's Tom. They always bring someone up after NXT Takeover. So, I can't come up with who it would even be, but just by nature, if they go that route. All right. And we get to the main event. The main event is Tommaso Ciampa, who is the NXT champ.
With the big beard.
Yep, he beat
he's scary.
Aleister Black. Yeah, he's funny too though. He beat Aleister Black at the last Takeover, with assistance from Johnny Gargano, who has lost his fucking mind, and he's the man. Like, I don't know, he's the best performer in terms of like character.
Tommaso.
Yeah, Tommaso.
Does he do this?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
And all of wrestling,
He's
no one
good.
comes close to how good he is right now.
He's good.
And Johnny Gargano, the storyline has been that he's been sort of Tommaso Ciampa's in his head. He
Something
fucking
with his wife?
Huh? They were gonna go a route, I think, where he was going to in fact attack her or something. It seemed
he got injured and she came out and she was yelling at him.
Yeah, and it seems like they were going to go that route. There was talks of maybe there was a chance where there was going to be physicality between the two, but I think they
Thank God.
They went the other route. I mean, if you know, her name is Candice. I'll just go with Candice.
Let me guess, she's blonde.
Yeah, yeah. She's the wife of Johnny, and she fought men. She was in it.
that's
She was in
right.
a tag team called the World's Cutest Tag Team with
She's tough.
with the guy. And if you watch her old tape, she's just getting her ass handed to her by men all the time. But they'll equal it out where she would get the best of a lot of guys, even the pins, even hitting finishers on guys. So her background is wrestling men, along with women. But I don't know if WWE is in the business of intergender unless it's like,
Yeah.
fucking.
Love feud.
Well, no,
Or
like
even,
they had the guy Ellsworth in a intergender match against Asuka. So and he didn't even get a lick in. He just basically got his ass whooped. And any time that she got hit with anything him involved, it was from Carmella. So they're just not in the business of men hitting women. You know.
We don't need to have that on TV.
Even on the developmental brand. What I wanted to say was this started off as a triple threat because Tommaso Ciampa winning the belt, whoever's the champion has a rematch clause, and the rematch clause was put in to effect, and they made it a triple threat. Sorry. It was going to be just them two for the rematch. But then somehow William Regal, and maybe hindsight, because Aleister Black is injured, put Gargano in the match because he cost Aleister Black the belt because of his interference. Just whatever, just process of getting shit done. Boom, it's a triple threat. But the injury is worse than we thought. And they had to pull him out of the match, making it a one-on-one, and hopefully it's the last match because it's the last man standing. I think everyone was hoping and waiting for a cage match, so to speak. But this last man standing, I think fits the mold pretty well. And what they've done with Aleister Black is they made his injury into a who done it, who attacked Aleister Black, because there's this video on .com where he's laid out, and it's like a guy with a camera. He gets in touch with William Regal. They say, hey man, Aleister Black's been attacked, we got to get out there. So they're just basically going to the thing, and you see Undisputed Era escape. You see Johnny Gargano come in. It's so cool. It's actually pretty fun. And they got all these people around the area where Black has been attacked, and everyone has sort of like something going on. You see Lars Sullivan walking away in the back. You see the Hawaiian guy on his phone. He's like on fucking FaceTime, whatever his name is. Defiant is that guy. You see a couple of guys sitting around. You see, it's just, well, all these people around who attacked Aleister Black. So that becomes the new story. And if I was to talk about one more thing about Aleister Black and the Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano feud is that he had a lot of fanfare. He had a lot of things going for him. For him to get that belt was a major achievement. But what happens in wrestling sometimes is that, like, whoever's going for the belt, whoever wins the belt, sometimes it's a feud that doesn't have a belt involved that gets more attention. And he just so happened to be the champion during the Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano feud, right? So it's almost best for him. I mean, it's kind of a shame because he's kind of been a paper champion. He didn't headline a single takeover as champion. They've always the
Aleister Black.
Aleister Black.
Okay.
The headliner's always been Ciampa, Gargano related. So it's kind of a shame not only to be outshined as champion. I mean, it's a better feud, more compelling characters. I mean, he just happened to, out of all the NXT champions, that was the short straw. And then not only to lose his championship, but then also to get injured. But maybe, just maybe, it's for the best. And let this fucking feud just go and like clear a path for him, maybe to come back stronger, or get called up to the main roster. So, yeah, Johnny's lost his mind because Tommaso Ciampa is in his head, and he's slipping and slipping and slipping and slipping and slipping to the point where when he came in the last promo before they made a triple threat match, he got Black Mass, which is that spinning kick by Aleister Black. And as much as everyone loves Gargano, the crowd is like, you deserve it.
Oh.
You deserve it. So the story is working. Everything's going to plan, and even the crowd is in on it. Even though Johnny is like the crowd favorite of anybody in anything of wrestling. So it's working out, and I'm looking forward to this match. This is like part 4 of this feud. It's not like they can do anything greater than they've done last time, but maybe NXT doesn't do it too often. I've already said there'd be shenanigans in maybe 3-4 of the matches, but maybe there's shenanigans here. Maybe someone
There's gotta be.
shows up. I mean,
there's no way. There's no way that they have a clean match.
And
There's no way.
And it's what else between the two of them can they do?
Because that's what everybody's looking forward to now. Now it's like this expectation that it's going to be complicated, and yeah. I think
We'll see. I mean, I've been talking a lot. What is your thoughts on this feud, and your thoughts on the upcoming match?
So I love Tommaso. I think he's such a good personality. I really like about him that so many of the, what do you call the bad guys?
Heels.
Are so overly animated and screaming at everybody, or they have this gimmick. But what I like about Tommaso is that he's so subtle. I mean, his face just, he just looks over there, and he does this little, he doesn't have to have all this fireworks and spectacular, like, he's just a scary freaking guy. So and then I'm not a huge fan of Johnny. I think he's a little cheesy to me. I mean, I could see why maybe like some younger people would cheer for him, but I don't. He's just not one of my favorites. So I definitely go Tommaso. But I do think that there might be some interference in this one.
Yeah, he just got the belt.
This is
Johnny
prime for drama.
Yeah, and I don't see. I mean, he's due for a win because I think they've gone back and forth.
Yes, a lot.
And even so, like, if Gargano wins, it's 2-2. So maybe there's another match between the two of them.
Because people still want to watch it. I mean,
people still want to watch it.
Still want to. I mean, even I'm like, well, what's going on now with those two? And then, does Tommaso still have the leg brace?
No. Well, I think he still wears it.
I think he likes
as a foil, like as a look.
Because that's just more props and everything. But I think it's going to continue on.
So that means Tommaso Ciampa retains. But that's the thing. Like, what will bring them to a 5th match?
Maybe Aleister Black somehow is involved.
He's on a hospital bed somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's no way he's showing up. I'm thinking a new character shows up. Because one thing about Ciampa is he is a bit of a chicken shit heel, which is like he'll like run his mouth, look tough, and then run.
Or he's more like slinks off.
Yeah.
He's so snake-like.
Yeah. He needs someone to, in fact, interfere. He needs not interfere, but he needs a bodyguard.
Does
or
he have
or like
any friends?
What's the word? He has no friends. But when you're the champ, everyone wants to kiss up to you.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe, because they're trying to see who took out Aleister Black, and I said something about Cassius Ohno. Maybe you're not familiar with him, but Cassius Ohno last Wednesday had a different demeanor about himself, a little more vicious. So maybe there's speculation that he is the guy who attacked Black, but maybe he'd come out to get Gargano.
Okay.
Maybe he comes out and get Gargano, and I mean, it ends the feud. He moves on to Cassius Ohno, who's a big guy, because it's, and then another babyface steps up to the plate to face Tommaso Ciampa, who becomes babyface. I mean, you go over the list of things. I can't at this time think of someone who would even come close, but I guess over time we'll find out. But I think if there's any shenanigans, Cassius Ohno shows up and helps.
I haven't really seen him much.
Who? Cassius?
Yeah.
Well, he shows up every once in a while. He fought EC3 not too long ago, and then he lost that match. He doesn't win matches. Like, that's his thing. He doesn't win any matches. And he just beat some dude down. And again, he was pretty vicious. So who's to say whether he's the black, he's the guy who attacked Black, or he comes in jealous of Gargano and his praises and his good luck. His ascension. Popularity.
Yeah. Jealous.
Yeah, he has the wife, and he has
Gargano's
the fans.
In that position to be
because you don't, and also he's slipping to become a heel, and you don't want him to be a heel. You need a bona fide babyface, and he's that guy. You don't need him slipping too much, and he is. And I think Cassius Ohno can be that foil to put
bringing baby back.
Yeah, well, the baby back. So yeah. So that's it, guys. I guess we were a little longer. She was nervous. She did great.
Thanks, Dave.
She did great. And do you have we decided where we're going to watch this? Because NYP is going to be having like a showing.
Oh.
I don't know if you wanted to go in public or like do stuff with your ankle.
I'll go. I want to go out of the house.
Okay, all right. Because I'm thinking we can watch it. Yeah, we can either watch it here or watch it there.
Let's watch it there.
Watch it there. Okay, so and I said I'm gonna be filming, get a live reaction of. Yeah.
Oh God.
Maybe the Gargano, definitely Gargano Ciampa finish.
Yes. And the Shayna
Baszler. I'll try to get them all and then pick through which ones have the best reaction.
Yeah.
Any last words on your first ever podcast and your and I guess officially making you a wrestling mark. You did a podcast. It's official. You're a wrestling mark now. Maybe you're not the biggest fan still, but you're a wrestling mark.
Well, these people go out there and they put on a show and they work their asses off, and I'm sure they're hurt all the time, so why not give them a little bit of respect?
Well, also your podcasting debut. Like, what do you have to say about your podcasting debut?
Well, you made me feel so comfortable. And I don't know. I'm still new.
She won't be on all of them all the time, but she'll make, if she's up to it, she's gonna make appearances and give her perspective. And maybe if she knows enough, I have her leading off, telling the storylines and stuff as we go. So, fuck around. She'll have her own podcast.
Probably never.
Yeah.
No, it was fun.
Well, thanks for helping me. Thanks for being a part of this.
Thanks for having me here.
And I'm not gonna have her give her any kind of anything social media whatsoever. So guys, sorry.
You're so silly, man.
Yeah. And you know how to find me, Ellen Japanese, Instagram, Ellen Japanese, all one word, L in Japanese, one word, Twitter. This is the Glorified House Show. You can find this on YouTube. You can find this also on SoundCloud. Just type in Glorified House Show. It's everywhere, man. It's coming to a,
electronic device?
Yeah, electronic device near you. And with that said, watch out for those foreign objects. All right, we're back. I thought it was done. I gave the sign out everything, but she came up with an amazing idea. And this is maybe something we'll do next time, or even when I come back on my own and do
New prediction. New prediction.
New
category.
prediction, and maybe we're gonna invent something here, right? So she goes, we forgot something from our prediction. So what did you say?
We got to figure out or predict who's going to get thrown into the Mexican announcers table.
Yes, the Spanish announce table. Not Mexican announce table, but the Spanish announce table.
Yeah, Spanish
which
language.
I think is one of the funnest things. She picked up on that soon because I remember talking about the idea.
So funny though.
It has to happen. And it has to happen once because, they do, with the takeover specials, they do have a Spanish announce table. I think they have a Spanish one. I think they have a German one. And I think that's it in terms of maybe an Indian one too.
Maybe.
East Indian one. And that's the stretch of announce teams joining. And if you were to choose,
oh gosh,
Amanda, who's gonna go through the Spanish announce table? Velveteen Dream versus EC3, Undisputed Era versus versus Mustache Mountain, Adam Cole versus Ricochet, Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano, Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane, which is not gonna happen. Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson.
I am leaning towards Tommaso and Johnny.
Because
that's going to be probably one of the more flamboyant matches, I think. I think it's going to sprawl all over the place rather than just stay in the ring. What about you?
It would have to be Tommaso Ciampa versus Gargano because it's the last man standing match. The idea of a last man standing match is, we didn't talk about that. A last man standing match is if you could keep your opponent down for 10 seconds. You hit him, beat him up, you do whatever you can. There's no pin. There's no disqualifications. There's nothing. It's you knock him down, you incapacitate him for 10 counts, and you win.
So throw him on the Spanish-speaking table. So
a lot of tables are going to be gone through.
That's what I'm thinking too.
A lot of weapons are going to be used. There's going to be, or foreign objects. And somebody has to go because they have to do one of the 10 counts through the Spanish announce table. But who goes? Who goes through the Spanish announce table?
Johnny.
Johnny goes through the. You got Johnny. I think Johnny puts Tommaso through because it's. Yeah. I think normally the babyface puts people through the.
We shall see.
We shall see. Oh, isn't she great? Okay, and that's it.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Watch out for the Spanish announce table.